So I'd fought with my girlfriend Dana the night before, so I went to the Museum of Fine Arts for the gallery talk alone. And I remember I stood apart from everyone else, waiting for it to begin. I heard a quick click of heels, and then she walked in. Not Dana, her. She was wearing this black and white and gray plaid dress, and those heels were a dark red, almost crimson. Her hair fell in messy ringlets, and she wore a flower in her hair. She wore a little choker with a silver pendant. Her face was flushed, and I realized mine was too. The curator led us through galleries and told us about warrior goddesses who became Aphrodite and Venus. But what goddess in marble could compare with her? She asked questions and she took notes, and I asked questions so that she would hear my voice, and that she would look back and that she would see me. The gallery tour ended, and the curator said, "A funny thing happened to us, all of us who were working on this Goddesses of Love project. All of us found love ourselves." And I looked at her, and she glanced over at me. And when I turned back to the art, I heard a quick click of heels again. "Excuse me," I said. "I really like the questions that you were asking, and could I get your opinion on this piece?" We talked about the art for a while, and I said, "Do you want to continue this conversation over coffee?" But she had dance practice. So I gave her my card with my email address scribbled on the back, and she tore a page from her diary. Walking home, she was all I was thinking about, and she'd be all I would think about for the next year. But I was flustered and a little surprised when she emailed me the next day and told me to take her to lunch. So I walked through Harvard Square in the rain. I didn't own an umbrella then, and I still don't. I sat with her for 2 hours in the restaurant, and for 2 hours more in the Tea Lux, and we talked about poetry and art and music and John Keats. I remember her holding the teacup and the steam rising up and touching her cheek the way I wanted to. I remember the way her eyes hardened when I said I was seeing someone, and she was biting her lip as she walked back to the tea. My relationship with Dana didn't last much longer after that. So I'd see her here and there. I remember after a party I was driving her home. She took my hand and she said, "Owen, I really like you, but what I need now is time." And I thought that all of my days belonged to her, and that I could wait as long as it would take. She told me about the man that she'd loved and had thought she was going to marry, and how one day she woke up, looking at the sunlight streaming on his face, she realized he was just a boy, and not ready, and not for her. And even though my hand was still in hers, she was pulling away. We sat outside and talked poetry again, and I read her the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. She was quiet afterwards and then said, "I've never understood that piece until you read it." But when the door to her apartment building closed and she climbed the stairs, she didn't look back at me once. Weeks went by and I'd see her here and there. I remember when she told me about this project that she'd got approved and how excited she was and how it was going to consume her for the next few weeks and months the way I was consumed with her. And then all of a sudden she said, "Owen, I am cosmically lonely." I thought of all the people around her and all the people around me, and I understood. I said, let's get a drink. She said, "No, I'm too busy. Maybe after my project's done." The same project that was going to take her weeks and months. But I needed to do something to celebrate her. I thought about the flowers she wore in her hair. I thought about John Keats, and I found a little pot of sunflowers online and sent it to her. And when she said, "You shouldn't have," she meant it. So I remember the next time I saw her after that, she was just staring off into space, and she stared right through me. But still I went up to her, and I said, "Hey." And she shook her head like she was waking up, and she looked up at me with those beautiful eyes and said, "I'm sorry, I can't," and walked away. Thank you.